Yes, yes, yes. It's the Raphael Dawkins with the Combat Radio. Boom. And we are live. Okay. So, where are we? Where are we? Let's get this thing situated. Okay. So, you are in tune to, what is it? It's the Boxing Talk with Rafi. And I think we're on 247. So welcome to everybody who normally comes here, and welcome if you are a newcomer to the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. Okay, so first things first, let's get this thing nice and right. Let's fix up the screen. Boom. Hold on. Do I have to do that? I don't have to do that. Just found a different way. Just thought about something. I just realized something. Okay. Let's fix this up. Nice and polite. Nice and right. Hold on. Okay. We got it perfect there. Boom. Never seen that feature before. Okay. So, how's it looking? Yes. 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 So if you've not been here before, this is where the good people come to chop up and talk about boxing and beyond. Boxing and beyond. Whatever comes into my mind, that's where we go. But today, we're talking about, well, first things first, let me do my sound check. And beyond. Okay. And beyond. Okay, so we're good. We're good with the sound check as you come in. Be very much appreciated if you would smash that like button. And what we're talking about today, we're talking about Frank Warren. There was much talk yesterday. The only person who's released any information has been Eddie Hearn. But now we know better because Frank Warren has come out and said his piece. He has confirmed what Eddie Hearn said yesterday. And there was a lot of naysaying. There was a lot of naysaying. I'm sure there was a lot of naysaying yesterday. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of naysaying today. A lot of naysaying. But I take heart from the fact that we now have an independent source, independent of Eddie Hearn, an independent source on the Fury side, confirming what Eddie Hearn said yesterday. Okay, and how rude of me. Let me drop the link in the chat. And boom. Hold on. Why is that? What's it doing like that? Hold on. Where are we? Where are we? Have I put the link in? Okay, it takes 10 seconds later with the YouTube. And there it is. Let's pin that. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. And where are we now? Where are we now? Okay, without much further ado, let's get into the piece. Well, first of all, hello and welcome, one and all. Let's do a quick roll call before we get into the story. Okay, so what's good, peeps? Just going to yam down food and some drink. Iced ginger root tea. Very good choice. Very good choice. I'm on the beetroot and celery. With one apple for sweetness. Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. Smash that like button. We in the house, says Iron Kong. The Shiz Biz up in the building. Big up the Rafi. Yes, big up the chat. One hundo. And the Philip Carl Roberts up in the building. Okay, so we're all in the building and sitting comfortably or doing whatever it is that you're doing out on the job or whatever and wherever. Me, I was breaking off a little bit of time it's the PM, in the lunchtime. Breaking off a little bit of time in the lunchtime to do this shiznix. Hopefully, all being well, we can do a double header. I can bang one out tonight as well. We shall see. Time will tell. But without much further ado, hold on. Let me just check. Have I shared this in Twitter? Boom, boom, boom. Yes, I have. Okay, so let's get on with this thing. Okay, and let's drop that down. And boom, boom, boom. In comes the man like the Iron Kong. Iron Kong, how do you do today?
Yeah, all good, Mr. Rafi. Just here, listening you and your wonderful broadcast today. It's like listening to the LBC on my way from Top Chat.
Well, we aim to provide entertainment and mental stimulation. So I hope that we're going to be able to achieve that today. Iron Kong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not using headphones, so if it's giving any echoes, then
no, it's fine. Somehow it's fine. It's not a problem. No issues. Okay. So without much further ado, we're not going to mess around. We're just going to go bang straight into it. Where is that button that I'm looking for? Boom, boom, and where is it? Is that it? Yeah. Boom. Okay. So, to be frank is the name of the article. To be frank, and let's get into this. Okay. So Tyson Fury's team not happy over Anthony Joshua fight announcement as Warren claims Hearn broke agreement. OMG. Okay, so Tyson Fury's promoter Frank Warren has taken a swipe at Eddie Hearn after he let slip that the Gypsy King and Anthony Joshua have agreed to a 2-fight deal. The 41-year-old. Oh, we're talking about Eddie Hearn. Okay, the 41-year-old who promotes WBA, WBO, IBF heavyweight champion. WBA, yeah, that's all right. IBF champion Joshua revealed on Monday that the first undisputed title clash is set to take place this summer. Let me underline that in case anybody missed out on that. What we're saying here, we have our friend from the Australias. It's the Kangaroo Jack come to share.
Aussie, oi, how are we?
Come to share his time with us. Okay, so you just chill there, mute yourself, Kangaroo Jack, and we're gonna get through the article and we're gonna get your responses. Okay, where are we? Everything good? Okay, everything's right. Okay, so there we see Frank Warren with a buttoned up. Well, it looks like he's buttoned up. Tyson Fury. Frank Warren has spoken of his frustration that Eddie Hearn let slip that Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua have signed a 2-fight deal. Okay, so Hearn revealed that Fury and AJ's first bout is expected to take place in the summer. Okay, let's continue on with this. But his announcement that AJ will pit his wits against WBC King Fury has angered Warren, who insisted that both parties agreed to do a joint statement at the same time. Okay, so speaking on Talk Sports Breakfast Show, Warren said everybody signed an agreement that there would be no announcements unless they were joint announcements, and that came out of the blue yesterday. We are not at all happy, but it's out there now. There's nothing we can do about that. But there's a long way to go. Yet, in as much as we have to sort out venues. We have a couple of venues we are looking at, and that is where we are. I believe it will happen when they get in the I believe it will happen when they get in the ring. We've still got a way to go. Okay, but everybody is on the same page to make this work. We're all collectively working to get the venue sorted now. It's been claimed that Fury and Joshua must agree within 30 days on where their domestic dust-up will take place. Otherwise, it may not materialize. What else? And then there are up to 8 potential locations battling it out to stage it, including London, Las Vegas, Singapore, and Saudi Arabia. Okay, there's the fight stats there. Fury. I don't know why he's on the left side. It should be on the right. Fury's got the lesser wins at high caliber than Joshua. I never understand why he's on the left. It should be on the right. But anyway, age 31 versus 32 versus 31. Fights 31 versus 25. Wins 30 versus 24. Losses 0 versus 1. Is that it? Because he had a loss? Is that how it works? Okay. Draws 1-0. Knockouts 21-22. Height 6'9", 6'6". weight. 19 stone 7 pounds, 17 stone 3 pounds. So what's that? That's a 2 stone 4 pound difference. Okay, 2 stone 4 pounds. That's what? That's in pounds. That's 20. That's 14. 28.
Difference.
So say again. What did you say?
Big difference in weight. Fury's a bigger man.
In the weight, it's 14, 28, 34 pounds. 34 pounds difference. Belts. WBC Ring Magazine. Joshua WBA, IBF, WBO, IBO. Stance Orthodox. Nickname Gypsy King AJ or the landlord. Okay, so is that it? Oh, hold on. We got a poll. Who will win? AJ versus Fury. Well, I'm gonna go with the underdog. I think Fury's the favorite, so let's go with the underdog. Boom. 50% to 43%. 5% say it's too close to call. So Fury is the betting favorite. I have a favorite as well. But I like to bet on the underdog. And the underdog in this one is Joshua. Commenting on the scale of the fight, Warren added, it's the biggest fight ever in British boxing history. No, it didn't say history. It says in British boxing. Okay, bar none. Okay, so 2 guys who hold all the versions of the world title between them. Both Brits. And it don't get no better than that. It's massive. Nothing compares to it. I've been involved in some big fights over the years, but they pale in comparison to how enormous this fight is. OMG. And what else have we got here? And in world boxing, it is the same. When you speak to anybody, all they talk about is when the fight is going to be on. Hopefully, it's going to happen now, and everyone's wish is going to come true. Going to come to fruition, and I think that's it. Is that it? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm talking about joint pain. Well, I'm talking about knee pain. I'm talking about me. Okay. So, this is interesting. Top 10 UK PPV all time. Okay, let's have a look at this. So this must be 10. David Haye versus Tony Bellew. What's that? 890,000 people. What is that? Pay-per-views. Okay. That was on 2017. 09, Manny Pacquiao versus Ricky Hatton. 900,000. Can you see this? Let me just check. Yeah, 900,000. What is this? 2015. Was it that long ago? 6 years. Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao Jr. I remember watching that in a place. The demand for that fight was crazy. They were showing it everywhere because it was so late in the morning, I think. And people were still out. Casinos were crammed, charging admission, and everybody walked out silent. That was hilarious, or not. Floyd Mayweather Jr. versus Conor McGregor, 1 million pay-per-view in the UK. That was 2017. 2018, Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Povetkin, 1.11 million. Floyd Mayweather versus Ricky Hatton, 1.15 million. Vladimir Klitschko versus David Haye, 1.17 million. Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker, 1.45 million, just under 1.5. Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko, 1.53 million. Anthony Joshua versus Andrew Ruiz Jr., 1.4 million. And I remember them talking about the Povetkin fight because there was some arrangement with the transport where it was that, you had to use coaches. People didn't want to go by coaches, so it wasn't totally sold out. And we had some of our misguided American friends talking about the show was a flop. OMG. Okay, so we've had some background there and we got some perspective. So what do I think about this Shiz Nix? What do I think? What is this? Who's this? Wayne Fitness up in the building. Big up yourself, Raf. Great live yesterday. It was a fantastic live. I've actually listened to it back. Fantastic live. I really want to see the fight doctor again because I got a silver bullet for him. I got a silver bullet for his one world. There's only one world, so there can only be one world champ. I got a silver bullet for him. Fight Doctor, please come and collect your silver bullet anytime you're ready. I got it for you. Okay, so we have Iron Kong. We have confirmation. We have confirmation of yesterday's news. It's come now from Queensbury Promotions. It's come now from Frank Warren. It has been confirmed that the fight has been signed by all relevant parties. Iron Kong.
Yeah, Eddie got to be careful because Bricktop is well aware of how to dispose of body. I heard him say it's best to move it in 6 pieces, and he told him that beware of anybody who has a pig farm. So I want Eddie Hearn to be very careful. Bricktop said 16 pigs can go through a 200-pound body in 6 minutes or 8 minutes. So
damn.
He needs to be very careful with running his mouth so much, right?
Damn.
But I mean, that's cool and everything. They get their venue and all that. I'm happy to hear it. I'm looking forward to seeing an actual undisputed fight live. I've never seen one before, and I want to see this one. So this would be cool. This graphic you showed, I'm confused. I'm shocked. Let me see. That's 1, 2, 3. 4. Is that 4 out of this group of things that Anthony Joshua has been topping? Is that viewership figures? Hello, Rafi, can't hear you.
Yeah, that's
hold on, Kangaroo. I'm coming to you in a second. I was accidentally muted. Okay, so this is the top 10 PPV UK PPV of all time. So I'm
shocked that Anthony Joshua has, is that 4 out of whatever? Are you telling me that the guy who says he's the biggest star in boxing right now, you mean he didn't even crack 800,000 views in the UK? He's the biggest star. I just saw him say on some interview there that, could you imagine me, the biggest star, coming back to fight in some small hall in England, in the UK? Are you telling me that? Are you telling me that, this massive fight with Tom Schwartz did not crack it? This massive fight with Wilder 2 did not crack 800,000 views?
Didn't crack it.
Are you telling me that? Somebody have to explain to me. Is it that there's a conspiracy against the biggest star in world boxing today? This is terrible.
It is terrible. And we have from our Antipodean friend, or first of all, before we go to our Antipodean friend, T. White, Fight Doctor. I got a silver bullet for you. It's on my desk right now. Anytime you want to collect it, my friend. When you talk about there's only one world, so there's only one champ, I got the silver bullet for you. I half exposed it yesterday, but then with so many people on, sometimes you lose your train of thought, and I forgot to deliver it. But anytime you're ready for the silver bullet, when you talk about one world, come back in here anytime. Anytime you want to come back in here and talk about there's only one world, so there can only be one champ, one world champ, come for the silver bullet. It's in the barrel right now. Anytime you're ready. Okay, but Kangaroo Jack, our Antipodean friend, come on through. Come with it.
How are we, fellas? How are we? Everybody good? Wow. Some massive news coming out of the UK, definitely. I just quickly respond to what Kong said. Those pay-per-view buys that are on screen have not been updated. Deontay Wilder and Fury done over 1.55 million views.
Not in the UK, my friend. This is specifically for the UK. Let me just raise it up. Top 10 UK PPVs of all time.
That hasn't been up. That has not been updated. That was there literally 8 months ago.
My friend. This is for the UK. Tyson Fury is shown in the UK on BT Sports, and they they are highly reluctant to release Tyson Fury's numbers, my friend. So you can be rest assured they don't match up here. They don't match up here. You can be rest assured on that.
This fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury is the biggest fight in my life. I'm 20 years old. There hasn't been any heavyweight fight of this magnitude since Lennox Lewis won him back in 1999, by my recollections. Is that right?
Yeah, sounds about right.
He unified the division, I'm pretty sure. The last heavyweight to do that. So this fight, I still think that there's a few things behind closed doors going on between different parties, because you haven't seen Bob Arum or Frank Warren come out and make any statements. So I'm not sure whether there's any shenanigans going on in the background. Do you think there could be anything going on with the venues, potentially any buyers? I don't know what's going on, you reckon?
Well, yeah, it's about the venues now, isn't it? It's about the venues. It's about the right venue. Obviously, there are venues interested, and I think an interesting point about this 20, 28 days, 30 days thing to get the venue, to get the agreement. An interesting thing about that is I think that could be. I was speaking to John Dealey, and he had a theory, which I think is a very good one, which is that I think this deadline for the venue, it's more to stimulate the venues into action, so they get their final offers in. So it's more a stimulus for the venues. So yeah, you got this amount of time to get your best offer in. 28 days. Boom.
There's been
boom. Let's go.
Here in Australia this morning, when I woke up, because when it was announced on Channel 7 News, Sports, they came out and said Australia, Melbourne Cricket Ground and the MCG are potentially putting in a bid to host that fight based on our COVID handling at the moment. We have 0 COVID cases and our borders have been opened up between domestic flights, and that stadium holds 110,000 people. Apparently we're going to put in a bid. So there's plenty of options. You would think it would go to Saudi, I think. I think Saudi Arabia is probably the one, because Eddie Hearn's got his head in that pot at the second, and that's where the fighters will get the most money, I would think.
Yeah. I would think so too. But Iron Kong, it's interesting. Australia are also in on it. They want to get in on the bidding. They want the fight too. Iron Kong.
I mean, why not? We don't want to watch Zerafa knock out Anthony Mundine again. So,
no.
I mean, why not, right? I mean, the only thing happening down in Oceania right now is Joseph Parker getting busted for being a drug lord.
Uh-oh.
So, hey,
OMG.
if Australia gets it, shit, I guess I'll be watching the fight in Australia.
Yeah.
From
Well, you're gonna be watching it in Australia, Kong? You flying down?
No. I'll be in my living room trying to get my kids away from me. They don't bother me.
It's a hard job. So yeah, down in Australia, let me go through a few of these comments. Ruben Guerrero is a big Tyson Fury guy. Let's see what Ruben says. These are pointless when Sky has a monopoly in the UK. Let me correct you, Ruben. The Sky does not have a monopoly in the UK. There are different broadcasters. They may be the biggest broadcaster in the UK, yes, but they're not pointless. They are the figures. They are the figures. They are the figures. People are upset that there's no figures. Well, I give you the figures. You can't be upset that I provide you with the figures. Surely not, Ruben Guerrero. Okay, let's go through Ruben's list of complaints. So that's the first one. What do these really show? Well, they show how many people bought the damn thing, my friend. Ruben, it's elementary, my dear fellow. They show how many people bought the damn pay-per-view. Surely it's self-explanatory. Top 10 UK pay-per-views of all times. So that's Ruben's second complaint. let me deal with the third one. Fight Doctor, I want to deliver the silver bullet. Please come on through. How many BT shows post 2000 are here? There are no BT shows in the top rankings, Ruben. They don't make the cut, my friend. They don't show enough. They don't sell enough PPVs. And that's who Tyson Fury is with. I heard Kangaroo Jack sigh there. I heard a heavy sigh from the Kangaroo Jack. I've got trainers older than Kangaroo Jack, says Cliff Bailey. Probably me too. Where are we? Okay, the James Jameson is up in the building, but Fannin said Wilder gets 32 milli. Step aside, 32 million. Fannin International. 32 milli, step aside. I got a video coming
That's
on.
the other thing.
On that
That's
fella.
That's the other thing as well. That's the other thing. You know, you don't know what. Have you any of you heard much from Shelley Finkler? Because there could be some sort of lawsuit dangling over Tyson Fury at the second, because apparently a contract was signed for the third fight. So is he going to be paid step aside money? How much is it going to be? Will he allow Fury to fight? I don't know. Is there anything to this? That's the question.
Well, and in comes the man where is he? I can't see him. ERF Boxing. Eric, how you doing, matey?
I'm good. How are you doing?
It's good, man. It's good. Lots of things are happening. We got Iron Kong up in the building. We got the Kangaroo Jack up in the building. You got yourself and myself. So between us, we gonna get through this. Eric. You've heard the news, though. You've heard the news from yesterday. That was leaked out. I don't think it was a direct statement from Eddie Hearn, but it was attributed to Eddie Hearn. And now Frank Warren has come out with the confirmation. It's in the form of a complaint that Eddie Hearn shouldn't have gone solo dolo. Eddie Hearn's going to say, I didn't say it. It was leaked out. Do you see any statement from me? No, it was leaked
OMG.
out. OMG. So we got it from Eddie, and now we got it from Frank Warren. It is confirmed. 2-fight deal. All signatures required are on the paper, on the contract. It's been signed. There's 28 days to make it, to get the date and the venue, or the venue and the date, whatever. So that is the situation as it stands. ERF Boxing, what say you?
Yeah, well, I'm glad it's signed. All the people that are saying that you can't have a fight with no date and venue, they seem to forget that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder's first fight was signed without a date and venue. Which is quite hilarious.
Great point.
I find that quite funny. That's their direct thing. Is there's no date and venue, so the fight is not on. We'll just wait and see. We've got a month. Now. We've got 28 days to see if we get a date and venue. Hopefully, we can get it sooner rather than later, and the Wildettes can, just admit that this fight will actually happen.
Well, they can wild out. They're going to wild out. The Wildettes are going to wild
out.
That's better. Wet and wild. And
you will find.
We got a Wilder here, Kangaroo. You know, Wildette, you're a Furyite. And in comes the man like. Let him introduce himself.
Fight Doctor is in the house on Rick James status. Dodging silver bullets.
You can't dodge this one. This one's going straight to the aorta, my friend. Straight to the aorta. Okay. So last night you touched on something, and with the help of our friends over here at the Raphael Dawkins, with the help, they stimulated my brain. Okay. You have this. You have a very good line. I'm always the first to give compliments, Fight Doctor. You have a very good line when you say, how many worlds are there? There are only one world, so there can only be one world champion. Is that correct?
Last I checked, there was only one world, therefore there can only be one world champion.
Okay. So, okay. So here is where the silver bullet is. Let me just polish it off. Let me just shine it up for you. Hold on. Hold on. Let me just shine up this silver bullet for you. Okay. Right. So the silver bullet is, how many rounds did they fight back in those days, Fight Doctor?
So it depends on the era. So
you're talking about Jack Johnson. You like to talk about Jack Johnson. How many rounds?
So I mean, it depends.
Jack Johnson era.
Well, in that era, they fought 20 rounds or more.
Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, so it depends on the era. So in once upon a time, the fight wasn't over until somebody quit. You know. Then of course, 70s, 80s, we were in the 15-round era. That's when the 15-round era came to an end. Now we're in the 12-round era.
Yeah. Okay. So in Jack Johnson's era, Jack Johnson, how many rounds did they fight in Jack Johnson's era? Let me put the E in there. Let's bring it up so I can show it to the people. 10 rounds. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. Yeah. So it could be anywhere from 10 rounds, 20 rounds, 30 rounds. It varied. But we do know that they often fought for 20 rounds routinely and more back in Jack Johnson's day. And we know, where am I? I lost myself. Okay. And we know that they fought in different types of gloves. So what I'm saying is that era, Jack Johnson's era, is different to this era. They even had some different rules. In certain instances. Okay, so to compare Jack Johnson's era and say they only had one world champ, well, a lot of things have changed since then. Different amount of rounds, different rules, and different gloves. So the fact they only had one world champion in Jack Johnson's era, well, it was effectively a different game, my friend. It was effectively a different game to the boxing game, which we know today. So you can't expect everything to be the same when so many things have changed. So when you're talking about the modern era, it's distinctly different from the olden era, from Jack Johnson's era. You can't compare Jack Johnson's era with today's era and expect everything to remain the same. Boom.
Do I get to rebut this argument?
Of course you do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just let me know when I can rebut this argument.
Let's go. Boom.
All right. So in Jack Johnson's era, there were different rules in place, right? It was a different game, you say. And I agree. Boxing has evolved since the Jack Johnson era, right? There are less rounds. The sport isn't quite as brutal. You have standing 8 count, so forth and so on. So the game has evolved. It has changed. I agree. However, there are still similarities, many similarities that make the sport unique and is still identifiable and relatable. So boxing today, even though it has changed, but you gave me a chance to rebut, so let me have my chance to rebut. So even though the sport of boxing has evolved, it's still recognizable from its roots.
Yes.
Okay? We still throw a jab. Now, in Jack Johnson's day, the skill sets were maybe not as polished, maybe not as refined, but the game was different in those days. Okay? I mean, they were essentially coming out of the bare knuckle era, and they were still sort of using the bare knuckle style of fighting in Jack Johnson days. Whereas now we're in the gloved era, okay, and the sport has evolved around fighting less rounds and using gloves, right? However, I can still identify the sport of boxing today with where it came from, its roots in the Jack Johnson era and before.
Yeah.
Right? So a natural evolution. So yes, the game has changed. However, there is still a genetic, it's still genetically identifiable with the sport from back in the day. Now, having said all that, yes, the sport has changed. However, there are some things that still remain the same. We still fight in a ring, right? The squared circle, that has not changed. Rounds are still 3 minutes. That has not changed. There is 1 minute between rounds. That has not changed. We fight under the Marquess of Queensberry rules. That has not changed, right? So the core DNA of the sport of boxing is consistent throughout the eras. Now, can we agree on that?
It's definitely a family member, but many years removed, many generations.
We can definitely agree with that fight, Doctor, 100%.
Now, the most important thing that has remained constant throughout all the different boxing eras is the fact that in that day there was one world, therefore there can only be one world champion, and today it remains the same. There is only one world, therefore there can only be one world champion.
No, the game's changed, so you can't compare back then with now. The game's changed.
Could I pit in on that, please?
I think so. Yeah.
I would say I would agree with the fight, Doctor. The boxing has evolved. There's no doubt about that. It's definitely progressed. The fighters are different. The fighters are a lot more fitter nowadays. They're a completely different species, you would almost say, but in the same bloodline. But when you say there's one champion, I wish there was. I wish you could say one person, one face, one heavyweight champion, one face of boxing.
One face, one name, one champion.
That would be that. See, the reality of it is, would you say whoever holds the Ring Magazine belt is the face of boxing if we were to go that way? No. Isn't that the oldest belt though?
That basically the Ring Magazine was supposed to be neutral. It came about from people who were sick and tired of confusion, and so they made an oath that they were dedicated to just analyzing, doing the analysis, and coming up with who was the best fighter in each division. However, they were bought out by Golden Boy, or was it 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago? And now they are a biased organization. I did an expose on them. I should kind of keep track on these things so I can bring them up at my fingertips and tell you which Boxing Talk with Rafi episode it was, where I did an expose of them. I think it was the time when they voted Tyson Fury the fighter of the year. And I think I have him and Teofimo on the thumbnail of that one. So if you find that, if you go back a month or two ago, we did an expose on how and why the Ring Magazine voted Tyson Fury fighter of the year. And we came to the conclusion that it was for commercial reasons. And also, commercial reasons. So it had nothing to do with fighting, or little to do with fighting, and more to do with commercial factors. And also, Tyson Fury was riding high at the time. He'd not long beaten Deontay Wilder, and on that one fight, they said he was the fight of the year when Teofimo had beaten Richard Comey and what's that little guy's name from the Ukraine, Lomachenko. So he'd done that. So he'd unified his division, theoretically unified his division, and they only had him as co-fighter of the year. So it was for commercial reasons. So they are now tainted, and they are not what they were originally set out to be. Back to you, Kangaroo Jack. Oh, it's fallen off. Kangaroo Jack's fallen off. I answered his question and he fell off.
Well, can I
certainly
rebut that, please?
Certainly.
Or actually, listen, I agree with the premise that the Ring Magazine is biased. Okay? I mean, the Ring Magazine is not what it once was. I mean, let's be honest. It's owned and run by a cokehead, so it can't be what it once was, right? However, as biased as the Ring Magazine is, that I believe it is, I would say, I would submit to you that the same is true, and even more so, for the so-called sanctioning organizations. that they are even more biased, that they are indeed criminal organizations. All right. And I'm talking about like in the same sense that La Cosa Nostra is a criminal organization in that sense. And that we should not give them legitimacy by recognizing their, and I don't even want to call them trinkets anymore. I think there's a better term that I have to figure out some better term, but by recognizing their trinkets, we give legitimacy to these criminal organizations. All right. And if you wish to see evidence of their bias, look no further than their rankings, because whoever pays the most sanctioning fees gets the highest rankings. Rankings are not based on what you do in the ring. They're not. They're based on how much you have paid to XYZ organization. So if that's not bias, if that's not reason to ignore these criminal organizations, then I don't know what is, right? But we do boxing a disservice when we recognize champions or recognize a champion based on which one of these criminal organizations he represents. That's doing a disservice to the sport of boxing, and doing a disservice to ourselves as fans of the most glorious sport in my opinion. All right, the most pure sport, where you have two men facing each other essentially naked to determine who is the better man. And then we take the purity of the sport and we wish to attach it to these criminal organizations. We are doing ourselves a disservice. We're doing the sport a disservice, and we're doing a disservice to the fighters. That's my opinion.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh,
Rafi.
Well, what I would say in a Ring magazine, I remember I had a conversation with a ultra fan of Tyson Fury after he had the draw with Deontay Wilder. And I remember the Ring magazine dropped Deontay Wilder down the rankings and brought up Tyson Fury. I told the person that's wrong. That shows the Ring magazine used personal feelings about how they feel about the fight and the actual result of the fight, which was not a win for either party, which means how can your ranking go down or up in a draw? And I thought that was incorrect of them. Regardless of how people feel about Deontay Wilder, the Ring magazine should not have dropped him down the ranking, and they should not have elevated Tyson Fury up. And that's how Tyson Fury is now Ring magazine champ, because he was elevated to number one or something. It was just really stupid. And you know, it shows a certain level of personal bias where you can make a decision in a ranking off of a no result, essentially, a draw.
Crazy. Utterly.
Right. Well, we know what that's about. The simple fact that De La Hoya.
Hold on, Fight Doctor. Hold on, Fight. We're going around the table, Fight Doctor. ERF Boxing.
Yeah. There's so many things. Yeah, the one world champion. In theory, it's a perfect. That's a perfect world, but we're not in a perfect world. It's okay saying that us fans we shouldn't acknowledge these trinkets, but they are acknowledged. They're acknowledged by fans, promoters, sponsors, whoever it is. They're acknowledged by them. The money follows the belts also at this moment in time. So fighters are always going to fight for these belts, whilst the money follows it. The Ring magazine is, well, we know what it is. How do you become fighter of the year off of one performance? You had one performance at the beginning of the year and you become fighter of the year. I don't understand. If I was Teofimo Lopez, I'd be fuming to be sharing fighter of the year after I've beaten two world champions, and Tyson Fury beats Deontay Wilder and he becomes joint world. It's obviously corrupt. We know what that's about. But in all fairness, Americans have bought into Tyson Fury's bullshit. That's their own fault. All of America has bought into what Tyson Fury was selling when he came back from his hiatus.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he won't fight in England, because people haven't bought into his crap as much as Americans have. Americans have bought into. I know there's mental health and that, but that was his whole. When Tyson Fury left, he didn't care about anybody and anyone else, and no one really cared about him over here either. That's why he left the sport of boxing. When he came back, he decided to play the sympathy card. And Americans bought it because they love a comeback story. Americans love a comeback story, and they bought his whole thing. Now, why do you think he doesn't want to fight in England? He doesn't want to fight in England because he isn't the most popular in England. In America, he'll be more popular than Anthony Joshua, because Americans love that sort of what Tyson Fury is doing. So, yeah, that's my point on it all.
Yeah. Yes. I think the fight. What do I say on it? One world, one champion. Well, you get one world, one champion. You get one champion when number one fights number two. That's how you get a champion. That's how you get a one world champion. But that's confirmed. That's confirmed when the number one who fought number two, or number two who fought number one, they become champion. They become the world champion. And then that world championship gets confirmed when they defend their crown. You know, getting the crown undisputed. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Undisputed is one champion, as writes John D. Lee. So yeah, and then that's how you get champion. That's how you get champion, and that champion is confirmed when he defends. So right about now, we got a situation where we got theoretically a number one. Well, it's number one versus number two. They're both ranked up there. You take your pick who you think's number one. You take your pick who you think is number two. But it's certainly number one versus number two, and that's what we're getting now. Number one versus number two. So that's how you get a one world champion. But as I reiterate, boxing's changed. It's not the same as in Jack Johnson's day. We got governing bodies now, multiple. We got rule changes. We got glove changes. We got technological changes. So it's a different game. But we're getting there. We're getting there with number one fighting number two. It's business before champions. I.e., no one else can dispute the championship status of the undisputed champion. Yes, I agree. Number one fights number two, and then you have a world champion, undisputed champion.
I know a section of fans will disagree with that.
That's not true. That is not true.
What is not true?
That you can have an undisputed champion who is undisputed. That's not true. You can have a disputed, undisputed champion, and we've in fact had a disputed, undisputed champion.
Hold on a second. A disputed, undisputed. I say number one, you get a world champion when number one fights number two. You have an undisputed champion. You go from world champion and to undisputed champion. And
right, but you said, but you followed that by saying that the undisputed champion is undisputed, and I said no.
No. If I said that, I'm taking it back, because everything can be disputed. Everything is up for dispute. Okay, even if you go for a paternity test and find out that the kid is yours, someone can probably still dispute. I say, well, it looks more like me. It's my kid. It's a dispute. So I'm not going to say that who's got the background noise. I'm not.
It's probably me.
Oh yeah, just mute your mic for me, Eric, when you're not talking. Cheers, buddy. So what was I just saying? Okay, so everything can be disputed, but all I am saying is that number one fights number two, and then you have undisputed. You have a one world champion. That's how you get one world champion, when number one fights number two. Now, if somebody wants to dispute the undisputed, that's entirely up to them. But regardless of that, if when number one fights number two, then you have an undisputed world champion. Yes. So that is what I'm saying. Anybody wants to come in on that? Come on in on that.
Yeah.
Well, if we're wanting one world champion, one world champion, how are we always gonna? We're never gonna have that if everything is getting disputed. Like the undisputed fight, that gives you one world champion.
Yes, that's what you're asking for. You're asking for one world champion. Undisputed gives you that.
Exactly.
No, it does not. And I can provide an example.
Go for it.
So in 1985, Michael Spinks beat Larry Holmes for the legitimate heavyweight championship of the world, right? In the next few years, you have Michael Spinks fighting nondescript opposition. At the same time, you have Mike Tyson, who makes his emergence in the heavyweight division and collects the WBC, the WBA, and the IBF belt, becoming undisputed without having fought Michael Spinks. So Mike Tyson, you have Mike Tyson. All right, so in the years following Michael Spinks having beaten Larry Holmes for the legitimate heavyweight title, okay?
Mm-hmm.
In those years, 86, 87, 88, you had Mike Tyson. He made his emergence in the heavyweight division. And in that time, he collects the WBC, the WBA, and IBF belts without having beaten Michael Spinks.
Mm-hmm.
And he becomes the undisputed, quote unquote, heavyweight champion of the world. But he has not beaten Michael Spinks. He didn't beat Michael Spinks until 1988, until after he had already become undisputed heavyweight champion. So in this instance, you have an undisputed heavyweight champion who is in fact disputed and a legitimate dispute. Okay. Because Michael Spinks was the rightful heavyweight champion because he had beaten Larry Holmes. Mike Tyson had not yet beaten Larry Holmes, or he had not yet beaten the man who beat the man.
I like this. I like it. I tell you why I like it. Because there you have a situation much like Joshua Fury. So in the case of Fury, you have a man who beat the man. So no, in the case of Spinks, you had a man who beat the man. Yeah, cool in the gang. But then in the case of Tyson, you had the man who were beating the other top guys. And so he was regarded as the man because he was beating the other top guys when Spinks was messing around. And so I can draw a direct parallel there with the Joshua Fury situation. Who wants to follow that?
Well, I was referencing to now we would get one world champion. In honesty, I was referencing to now. Also, like you just said, Rafi, with the Tyson Fury, I seen someone had commented saying, "Well, Joshua's belts are still really Fury's belt." And my response to that was, "Well, Fury's WBC belt is still Lennox Lewis's belt," because you can't retire from the sport and then come back and say, "Oh, someone's got my belts." Like, no, you relinquished your belts. Therefore, they're no longer your belts. Somebody else has collected them. Mm-hmm. So it's all the Fury. Fury was the man who beat the man. The man was a consensus champion who he beat. He wasn't actually a lineal champion he beat.
Mm.
So
you understand where people are coming from, though, when they say that, don't you?
No, I don't. I don't understand it, not one bit, because it makes zero sense to me. Because if Tyson Fury really wanted those belts back, he'd have fought Anthony Joshua instead of fighting Deontay Wilder, because Joshua had all those belts. All the while, Tyson Fury was fighting Deontay Wilder, fighting Safiri, whoever else he fought. He had the chance to fight Anthony Joshua and he didn't fight. So saying, "Oh, they're my belts," they're no longer your belts. You came back from being retired. You had the option to go back to get those belts from one guy, and you refused to. What you did was went round the other way to get a different belt.
Mr. Speaker,
only now he's stepping.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. I want to agree with the honorable member ERF Boxing. It's a very important topic. Only these ultra Tyson Fury fans make up these ridiculous stories about how Tyson Fury, he never actually lost him in the ring, which is more shameful, sir. You couldn't keep yourself together long enough to defend your belts once. Thankfully, Anthony Joshua was going to give him a chance to make his long-awaited first title defense in the history of his career. First, Tyson Fury is a fraud type cat. You come out here, you make this ridiculous argument about those are actually still Tyson's belts. No, he couldn't deal with the situation.
Couldn't deal with it.
Iron Kong also, it's not Tyson Fury's belt because he never defended the damn belt.
Never.
He got the belt and ran up. He never defended it.
Here's the problem here in boxing. Tyson Fury fans want to jump on Wilder, saying, "Oh, his how much defense was it? 10 defenses, 9 defenses in a row? How much was it?"
Yep. Yeah,
and
I think it was 9.
I think it was 9.
Oh, you defend against bums. Tyson Fury didn't even defend against a bum. He couldn't even defend against himself.
He came back and defended the lineal against Safari or Pianetta, whichever one you want to pick.
Okay. Say that's all going to be. That'll all be debunked within the next 4 to 5 months because they're going to go toe to toe and he'll win them.
Say thank you to Oluwafemi for giving Tyson Fury the opportunity to make his first ever career title defense. How about that?
Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much.
The thing is, I'm glad the Wilder rematch isn't happening because I want the undisputed fight. But this is the second time Tyson Fury is supposed to defend his belt against the guy he took it from, and he hasn't done so. This is the second time.
Bad form.
So you know, I hear it. I hear it's a 2-fight deal, but if somehow Tyson Fury wins that belt, he's undisputed and retired. That is what's going to happen. He's undisputed and retired. He will never rematch somebody to defend the belt.
I believe that. He will not defend.
Say that again.
If Tyson Fury beats Anthony Joshua in the first fight, he will not fight the second fight. He's gone.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's it. He'll retire. He will retire and say he's beaten everybody there is to beat. He's beat Klitschko, he's beat Wilder, he's beat Joshua. That's him done. And that's what's going to happen.
Terrible.
If he does beat Joshua, I'll give him all the credit in the world. I will give him all the credit in the world. Don't get me wrong if he beats Joshua.
I won't. He'll have to defend his belt for me to give him credit.
Yeah, that is true. He does have to defend the belt.
Yeah. You don't get credit. You don't get credit until he defends. Kangaroo Jack, you keep on dropping off, but
sorry.
I'm muting you. So because I hear anything that goes on in the background, I hear it. So when you're not talking, just mute yourself so we keep the quality of the sound quality crystal clear.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
But you know, I have no, you know, the opinions of these fellas, you know, is definitely valid opinions, you know, each to their own. I do agree with the comments just made just a couple of seconds ago. If Fury beats Anthony Joshua, who else has he got to fight? He will probably retire. He might finish off with fighting Del Boy, Derek Chisora, but he will retire.
Why would he fight Derek Chisora?
Oh God!
Because he said years ago that he'd finish his career with Derek Chisora, like some sort of farewell fight, whatever. But again, I can see Fury just beating AJ and walking away from the sport. You know, and I don't blame him. You know, what else has he got to do? You know,
I do blame him because he signed. I do blame him because he signed a 2-fight deal. So if Joshua wins the first fight, he would expect a rematch. So if he wins the first fight, why not do the same what you would expect of your opponent?
Why does he get a pass?
Pardon? Yeah. Why does he get a pass? Because it's Tyson Fury. Imagine if Joshua beats him the first fight and says, you know what? Now I've beaten Tyson Fury. I'm going to go fight Deontay Wilder instead. I'm not going to honor the rematch. Tyson Fury fans will be absolutely fuming. So you can't tell me,
I'd be fuming.
respect. Yeah, exactly. This is my point. So you've got to keep the same energy. Then you've got to be fuming if Tyson Fury beats him the first fight and then goes and fights Del Boy. Like you can't have it your way just because it's your fighter. But then when it's on the other foot, you're going to be fuming about it.
Okay,
it has to be the same energy for both people.
It has to be the same energy. Now, we can get back to you, Kangaroo Jack. Remember what you're going to say. Now, you see, we have to look into this. From training with Conor McGregor to downing 12 pints a day, Tyson Fury's wild claims debunked. I'm sorry I have to do this, but you raised the point that Tyson Fury said something years ago, and so you hold it true. He said he was going to finish his career with fighting Derek Chisora. He said it years ago, and you hold it true. But we have to look at this. We have to look at this. Let me just check to make sure that you can see what I can see. Okay, you can. So we're going to have to look at this briefly. We're going to have to look at the words of Tyson Fury and how seriously we are supposed to take them or are not supposed to take them. Okay, so where are we here? Where are we here? What did he say? What did he say? One. There it is. One. Let me highlight it. A lot of stuff on the screen. Okay, that's one of his claims. Conor McGregor offered to train him in mixed martial arts. Okay, so Tyson Fury says, I'm looking forward to going training with Conor. We're going to get it all planned in, and I should be over in Dublin quite soon. I think Conor is an absolutely fantastic fighting man. He's offered to train me if I ever wanted to go into MMA. Okay, so Tyson Fury made these claims, made these comments at the end of 2019, 3 months before his victorious rematch with Deontay Wilder. 3 months before his rematch with Deontay Wilder. Okay, so having previously expressed an interest in fighting in the UFC. Okay, Fury trained with middleweight contender Darren Till and had words with former UFC champion Cain Velasquez. So there was potentially a slither of truth to his claim until Conor McGregor was asked about it. And Conor McGregor was responded as follows. Tyson Fury keeps saying me and him spoke and I said I would train him. But Conor said, I have never spoken to Tyson Fury in my entire life. So I don't know why he's saying that. Case closed. Okay, let me just give you one more. Let me give you one more example. Because there's numerous. Let me try and pick out one that's not too unsavory. He spoke about becoming the next MP for Morecambe. That gets debunked. He spoke about drinking 12 pints a day and not eating. That gets debunked. Let's find something a bit more savory. Okay. Why don't we go into 5? Building houses for the homeless. I'll get through this one and pass it back to the panel. Okay. So Tyson Fury said, I'm going to give it to the poor when talking about his purse for the first fight, reputed to be somewhere in the region between 4 million and 7 million. I'm going to be building homes for the homeless. I don't really have much use for it. I'm not interested in becoming a millionaire or a billionaire. Fury made his charitable claim before his first fight with Deontay Wilder in 2018. And his donation would have amounted to a staggering 8 million minus taxes. Okay, so he later said he had followed through with his plan, confirming I did give away my last purse, but I don't do charity work for a pat on the back. I do it to help people, but I do not want praise for it. I don't want to be called a do-gooder. We at the Mirror Fighting like to believe the people of Morecambe really did benefit from their most famous residents' generosity. But one man who doesn't is promoter Eddie Hearn. 1 minute he's giving his entire purse away to charity, which he obviously never did. He said, the jury is out on this one. No proof has been forthcoming. Okay, I think we're going back to Kangaroo Jack. Over to you, my friend, and then everybody else after.
I personally don't read into any of this media crap, personally.
It's come from him. It's come from
I
him.
also,
He's the
yeah,
one
that's what
saying.
I'm saying. I don't read into it. I also don't read into the whole. I've been drinking 13 pints of lager beer. Haven't been eating. That's all mind games that he likes to play. We know Fury. He likes to contradict himself sometimes. That's just the way he is. I've followed him for a few years now. Yeah, it doesn't bother me. But I think most importantly, we should be getting excited for the fight and then talking about how it's going to turn out. And, what a great spectacle it's going to be for world boxing to have the big guys fight for a unification bout. I think it's absolutely unbelievable. I can't wait. I hope no one holds this up. I hope nobody pulls a pin on any of the negotiations. I hope they land a venue very soon. And let's get it on.
Let's get it on. Let's get it on. But the point I was making is that you shouldn't really be believing something Tyson Fury said. Kangaroo Jack.
Oh, there's no doubt. He won't fight Derek Chisora to finish his career. Anthony Joshua, the next fight will be his last fight. Fury's very inactive over the last 3 to 4 years. He has maybe 1 or 2 fights a year. He gets himself up for the big fights. He lowers his standards against the lower guys. He's very good at doing that. It won't surprise me if he beats Anthony Joshua and retires from the sport and you never see him again. And he'll float off into the sunset saying he's the best thing since sliced bread. So you just let this fight take place and we will see who is the number 1 boxer on the planet.
Okay. Man, we're going around the table.
OMG.
OMG. And if you're enjoying...
Isn't that what we're looking for? What we're looking for, though?
And if you're enjoying the content, if you're enjoying the show, kindly smash that like button, please. And hit that subscribe button if you have not already done so. And if you want to keep updated with news and notifications when we go live, I would recommend you hit that bell icon. And of course, the share button is there for you to share the shows that you enjoy.
Just real quickly before you head on to the next person, we have these conversations, you go live, people join in, people have great debates about what's going on in the heavyweight division or whatever division of your like. But this fight is huge. The number 1 and number 2, or both number 1 equal on the panel. They're going to head to head. Forget about everybody else. This fight is on. Let's get ready to rumble. It's all over the globe. Everyone's going to be in their lounge rooms ready to watch the fight. I'm on the other side of the planet getting ready for the fight. Everyone else is all ready for the fight. Let's get it on, boys.
Let's get it on. Let's get it on. Who wants to talk next? The fight doctor has been stunned into silence. I don't know if it's something that I said, but he's back. He's back.
I'm on the side of I hope this fight happens and I hope we get a good fight. But listen, I'll tell you what, I would not be surprised to see, and this is actually what I'm expecting is going to happen. If Tyson Fury wins the fight, I don't think he's going to honor the rematch clause. I think he's going to do what he normally does, which is check out.
Yeah.
Go on a Coke binge, go on a beer binge, go on a whiskey binge, and check out.
Yeah, it's true to form. It's true to form. He's done it twice before. Is there anybody who thinks that Tyson Fury will stick around? Post your comment up in the chat. Moving along.
He will have to. He will have to because he'll lose the first fight.
Say that again. Say that again.
He will have to stick around because he'll lose the first fight.
Oh, you're betting on him to lose the first fight.
He will lose the first fight. I believe Anthony Joshua beats him.
Huh. That's interesting because Tyson Fury is a I don't know about how heavy, but he's a decided favorite thus far in the betting lines. I'm
just anxious to watch Oliver Femi deliver a public flogging with a cat o' nine tail. And man, I'm anxious to see the fight come on. It's weird, right? When we speak about Tyson Fury's propensity for should I say, embellishments. Well, you can't count on a dude like that. But the problem is, Tyson Fury can also trick himself into overperforming, right? People like that who have a way of being generous with the truth sometimes have a way of being so deluded that they actually trick themselves into overperforming. They actually can get into a headspace when they really are, the mind that I've learned is that, when you're a person who really believes in your own ish, right, you can really convince yourself that I'm going to destroy this man.
Yeah.
But the problem is when you actually destroy the person, then reality clicks back in and you say, you know what, let me not try it again. Right? So can that be a reason why Tyson Fury probably said, like, maybe not the third Deontay Wilder fight because he destroyed in the second fight. And then he's like, you know what, let me not push my luck.
I think that too sometimes.
You guys are honestly, I'm sorry, but I have to cut in here. This is just like everybody's going against Fury here. There's no doubt you guys are. There's no doubt you're undermining his ability. There's no doubt about that. You're definitely taking the mickey out of him. We'll just see how the fight goes, big fella. We'll see how it goes.
I disagree with that. Saying that we're undermining his ability, because I know how good of a boxer.
Who undermined him? Who undermined him?
I never undermined his.
Point the finger at the person who undermined him. If it's me, say it was me. If it's Kong, say it was Kong. If it's the fight doctor, say it's the fight doctor. If it's ERF, say it's ERF. If it's John Dealey who hasn't said anything yet, say it was John Dealey.
I would say the whole discussion. I would say the whole discussion about you undermining his championship. The way he represents himself as a champion.
Does he represent himself as a champion? How does he represent himself as a champion, Kangaroo Jack?
At this second, he's represent himself very well as a champion.
You think overall, you think overall Tyson Fury has represented himself well as a champion?
Correct.
OMG. John Dealey's already pressed his unmute button.
John.
John Dealey. What's going on with John? Can't hear John. What's going on? Has he been kidnapped by aliens? John, have you been kidnapped by aliens?
Is that working now?
Yeah, they brought you back. OMG. Bit worried for you there, John.
It was a quick trip. I was struggling. I think I was speechless from Kangaroo Jack.
He was in Tyson Fury land for a minute.
Crazy statement. Historically, you are not a champion until you defend your title.
That's what I always believe.
That's been the consensus within boxing since its inception. Tyson Fury has never defended a title. So he isn't a champion. He's actually never been a champion. And the reality of it is, the reason he didn't rematch Klitschko is because he knew the Nandrolone case was going to break. That fight should be a no contest. He should have been banned for Nandrolone abuse.
100. How many times have I said?
So he's had 3 championship fights. 1 should be a no contest. 1 was a draw, and he's won 1. And we're talking about representing yourself as a champion. The gentleman in the middle of my avatar had 25 title defenses. That's a champion. That is a champion.
Yeah.
Even Deontay Wilder defended his belt. I don't care who it was against, he still defended it.
Yeah, even Deontay defended. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So the next step in being a great is defending your title against all comers. And, if you are an undisputed champion, as Joe Louis was, and the great Marvin Hagler, you do end up defending it against all comers. Yeah. So, and that is how you represent yourself as a champion, Kangaroo Jack. You don't have 3 championship fights and never defend a title. That is not represent. You are not a champion.
Yeah.
Look,
Kangaroo
mate,
Jack.
you are.
Come on in, mate.
Yeah, I'm here. If I'm not muted.
No, you're here. I hear you.
Yeah, you know, each to their own. You have your opinion, however you want to do it. But again, if Fury beats Anthony Joshua and doesn't defend any of those belts, right? Would you all claim and say he's never been a champion?
Yeah, never.
Well,
been
he
champion.
will have actually defended the WBC title.
No. But what I'm saying,
within the confines of what I'm saying, within the confines of what I'm saying, he will have actually defended his title for the first time. This fight signed is Tyson Fury's first title defense.
First title.
I wouldn't be surprised if
it may be his last. Nobody's saying it isn't going to be his last, but it is 100% his first. And if he doesn't win, he'll be in the Andy Ruiz category. If he doesn't win, he'll be in the Andy Ruiz category of losing on their first defense.
Kangaroo Jack, you're speechless. Come on in. Kangaroo Jack, you're speechless. Kangaroo Jack. Okay. Kangaroo Jack, speak up.
About that. But,
Kangaroo Jack. Yeah.
I would all.
Oh, you got a bad connection. Oh, you're fading in and fading out. What's wrong with your Australian connection, Kangaroo Jack? Have they not got good internet down there?
They can't do if he still thinks Tyson Fury has represented himself as a great champion. His reception is definitely bad.
Kangaroo Jack, I'm going to kick you off. I'm going to kick you off so you can come back in. I've kicked you off so you can come back in because we can't hear a damn word you're saying. Can't hear a damn word you're saying, but I just want to address Eddie Hills right here. Eddie Hill says, we didn't vote him as champion. He earned that position, so he doesn't need to represent himself as anything. But I think I think Eddie Hills, I almost called you Kangaroo Jack there. I think Eddie Hills that, there's some validity to what you say, but there's also validity to the belief that when you're a champion, you are honor bound, you're duty bound to conduct yourself in a championship manner. I repeat, there is a school of thought, there is a philosophy that when you ascend to a champion, that you are duty bound to conduct yourself in a manner befitting a champion. And I don't really know.
What about legacy? So whoever you have as your number one heavyweight champion of all time, it will be based on their title defenses and who they fought and who they took on.
Their body of work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what we mean by representing yourself.
Yes.
So whether you have Muhammad Ali, who has one of the finest resumes in the history of heavyweight boxing, or somebody else, that's how you assess it. Who he fought, how many times he defended his title, and how good those opponents were.
Yes.
Well, you also have to measure it on, the level of I would say the level of competition in the era as well, because that's
pretty much what I said.
You'd have to say within the last, since 2013 all the way up to now, there hasn't been a great deal of top flight heavyweights that actually consistently fight each other.
I think there's an argument against that as well. I think the fact is when you get a dominant champion, that's how it would appear.
Yeah, it looks that way.
Povetkin is proof and contrary to this argument. He was, whether you enjoyed the fight or not, it's a different question. He's comprehensively beaten by Klitschko. Pulev actually had a decent resume and fought quite a lot of people. He was also comprehensively beaten by Klitschko. Yeah. This made Klitschko look like an extremely dominant champion, but he fought everybody.
You'd also put in there as well. I mean, I would always admit that Fury's resume isn't as good as Anthony Joshua's. And I would also say the fights coming up to his world title fight with Vladimir Klitschko wasn't ideal to prove that he was worthy of a title shot. Even after that, when he fought Wilder, he came back, fought two taxi drivers, and then fought Wilder. And then after Wilder, he went straight back in again with Wilder. So he's always facing the best, and he's beaten the best. He's beaten Klitschko, he's beaten Wilder, he's beaten Wilder twice, and now he's going on to Anthony Joshua.
He's beaten Wilder once.
He rarely faces the best.
Yeah, but he's beaten the best every time he's faced the best.
No, he hasn't. He's got a draw. He has a draw against Deontay Wilder and a win against Deontay Wilder.
Well, the rematch, he smashed his fucking face in.
Hey,
that's irrelevant. It's irrelevant how he beat. It's irrelevant.
He's had 3 world title fights and he's won 2. That's his record in world title fights. That's the reality of the situation. 1, if you actually go back and score the Klitschko fight, virtually no punches were thrown.
Yeah, it was
And
terrible.
if you actually go back and score the second Deontay Wilder fight, the first Deontay Wilder fight, there weren't very many punches thrown there either. You can actually go back and score it. Punches thrown and punches landed, it's actually quite tight. When you take into account the 2 knockdowns as well, it's not a clear-cut win for Fury. It's a tight fight that there's arguments for all 3 results. It certainly wasn't decisive. Fury did do. Fight. No, the first Wilder fight. What Fury did do was a lot of showboating to make it look like he was doing better than he actually was. But last time I checked, you don't get points for putting your hands behind your back and dancing around and making it out like
you'd also have to. You would also
get
have
points
to
for landing punches.
Put it on the judges as well when they score these fights, because I do agree with you there. You know, sometimes these fights, it's not just a Fury Wilder fight. It's not just a Klitschko Fury fight. You know, a lot of these judges make the fights make out to be like they were closer than what they were meant to be, or there was a blowout, etc., etc. Boxing at the moment with the scorecards is a bit in a debacle at the second. You know, sometimes the way they score fights are unbelievable.
And also, before I forget, sorry to interrupt, Eric's coming in. And before I forget, did you say that Deontay Wilder, when Fury beat Deontay Wilder, he beat the best boxer out there, heavyweight? Did you say that, Kangaroo Jack? And if you did, I can understand why you did. But when you look at it objectively, it would be difficult to say that is a fight.
Okay.
Now, hold on. When you look at it objectively, it would be difficult to say that when he beat Deontay Wilder, he was beating the best heavyweight boxer, because Deontay Wilder avoided the best heavyweight boxers. So really, Tyson Fury took a cherry pick there. It was a cherry pick for Fury, and it was a cherry pick for Wilder. It was a 2-way cherry pick. They were both cherry picking. They were both cherries. Deontay Wilder was a cherry who had held the belt hostage for 5 years. This is my opinion. Deontay Wilder, a guy who held the belt hostage for 5 years, refused to fight the best guys out there, and only fought Tyson Fury as a cowardly move. Yeah, I said it. As a cowardly move, because rather than fight guys who were currently in the game, currently beating top 10 guys, he refused to do that. And instead, he opted to fight
the fat guy. The fat guy.
He opted to fight the fat guy. He ducked. He was a cherry pick. It was a cowardly move when he opted to fight Tyson Fury, who'd been on the couch, in the beer house, in the whore house, in the curry house. Where else? All kinds of houses. Oh, the crack house. Sorry, I forgot about the crack house.
Okay, so now if you go,
hold on. It was a cowardly move on the part. I've never said it before, but I'm going to have to say it now. I'll try not to use that word again in relation to a fighter, but it was a cowardly move on the part of Deontay Wilder to choose to fight the fat guy. So for anyone to say that when he beat Deontay Wilder, he beat the best heavyweight boxer, we all know that is quite simply not true. And ERF Boxing is next, and then the Fight Doctor, then Kong.
You go back, and you're going back to the Klitschko fight. You go back, if Klitschko got that decision, there would be nobody arguing saying it was a robbery. Like John said, it was a fight of very few punches landed and thrown at that.
Was it even a fight? I mean, I question if it was even a fight. It was
exactly, yeah.
I don't know what
it was
that
a tickle fest.
It was a tickle fest.
It was a soft sparring session.
Yeah, soft sparring, very soft sparring. The granny could have done that.
But yeah, you go back and watch that fight, and Tyson Fury doesn't. He only rematches people where he feels he's done shit in the first fight. So if you feel like the John McDermott rematch, he felt he did shit in the first fight, so he needed to rematch it. Derek Chisora, he was happy to do a rematch because he felt he could have done better. The Deontay Wilder, the reason why he took the rematch is because he's been in there and he felt he could do better. Now he's beaten Deontay Wilder. He don't want a rematch. The Klitschko fight, he felt he got away with it and won, so he's like, I don't need to give him a rematch. And this is how Tyson Fury goes. Saying he's beat the best fighter in Deontay Wilder, I give him credit for the Klitschko fight, but I don't give him credit for not rematching him. But the Deontay Wilder fight, like you said, they did both cherry pick each other. Like I said before, the Tyson Fury could have come back and fought AJ. If everybody keeps saying, "Oh, it's Fury's belts, it's Fury's belts," Fury got offered the AJ fight. He got offered two warm-up fights, and then the AJ fight. He turned it down to fight two warm-up fight and fight Deontay Wilder.
He turned it down another time as well. After Wilder turned down the Wembley date in April 2019. Is it 18 or 19? 19, isn't it?
Yeah.
19. So he's actually ducked AJ twice. So how are those Fury's belts?
How are those Fury's belts?
They're not.
Carry on.
They're not his belts because Anthony Joshua went round and beat champions for those belts. Apart from the WBA, was that vacant? The WBA, I think that was vacant with a Klitschko fight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the only belt he didn't win for a champion. But then he defended that belt against the mandatory challenger in Povetkin. So Joshua has gone round the table to pick these belts up individually, and then you got the belts and ran off with it from one guy. You beat one guy and ran off, and you say, "Oh, they're my belts." Klitschko could easily say, "Well, no, they're still my belts. You don't give me a chance to win them back yet."
Yeah. Yes. Iron Kong. Then the fight, doctor. If Iron Kong.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Avatar.
Yeah, I've seen it. The cat o' nine tails. Let me bring that up. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Boom.
30 strokes with the cat o' nine, sir. For Lucas Fury.
Luke.
And Kangaroo Jack will feel bad all he wants. Oh, you picking on Tyson Fury. Stop talking about Tyson Fury like that. When he getting administered these strokes, you come rescue him then. You jump in the ring and take these for him. You understand me? Stop feeling sorry for Tyson Fury. He don't care about you. He don't care about you. He don't care about boxing. You can't tell me you get one good night, you beat the champ, then all of a sudden you duck in rematches, you jump out the sport, you jump back in the sport when you feel like, and that's a true champion to me. No. As much as he want to talk about Deontay Wilder's 9-10 defenses, Deontay Wilder actually did defend his belt 9-10 times, whatever. Tyson Fury ain't no champ for nobody. So when you're ready, you can feel sorry for Tyson all you want. But when he gained these strokes with the cat 09, sir, jump in and take a few strokes for him. That's all from me, Rafi. Y'all have a nice day.
Oh, it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing because
that was the Iron Kong. Thank you, Iron Kong. Thanks for coming through. We're closing up the show now with the 1 hour 30-minute mark. And I think that's a nice digestible time for people who are re-watching. And I remind people to hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, hit all the good buttons you see before you. And we're just going around the table now with the final words. John D. Lee, your final words, please. John D. Lee, can people hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, the fight doctor. Your final words, please. Thanks to everybody who came. This has been a marvelous show. Fight doctor, your final words. Thank you.
So let's be consistent with our logic, right? If Tyson Fury were a cherry pick for Deontay Wilder, and if Deontay Wilder was a cherry pick for Tyson Fury, then be consistent with our logic. And the best name on Anthony Joshua's resume, Vladimir Klitschko, was a cherry pick. Okay.
How dare you? How was that cherry pick?
Okay, well, let's look at the facts.
How was it a cherry pick?
I'll be more than happy to explain. Let's look at the facts.
Let's go.
Klitschko coming off of a loss and a long layoff.
Klitschko coming off a loss and 2 training camps, you mean, not a long layoff?
No, sir. I said, let's look at the facts.
Yeah.
Okay. And now, I don't live in alternate fact reality world. I don't live in that world. I'm dealing with.
You had 2 training camps in that period.
I'm dealing with the facts. Look, hold on a second. Wait, hold on a second, sir. Hold on a second, sir. This is my rebuttal. This is my rebuttal.
You told a falsehood, and I have to correct that, and you can rebuttal my correction. Okay, you said he was sitting out for 18 months. He was not. He had 2 training camps for Fury in that time. So that's not sitting out. That's being very, very active. But back to you.
Nonetheless, fact of the matter is he'd been out of the ring for 18 months. That's a fact.
He'd been
That's
training.
not speculation.
Carry on.
That's not okay, but he'd been out of the ring.
He'd been in training, but carry on.
He had not been fighting.
Fight doctor. Did he have 2 training camps? Is that also a fact?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But that's
it's actually a documented fact. There's footage.
That is all.
Partners were there.
All right, listen, you guys. You can make as many apologies as you want. Does not change the fact that he had not had a fight in 18 months. And the last time he had a fight, he set a record he set an all-time record for the least amount of punches thrown in the heavyweight championship fight. Okay, and he lost.
That's true.
So to say that somehow Klitschko had a stellar performance in his previous fight 18 months prior, okay, would be to grossly misrepresent the facts. Vladimir Klitschko was a cherry pick. All right. If Tyson Fury was a cherry pick, if Deontay Wilder was a cherry pick, then Vladimir Klitschko was a Vladimir Klitschko was a cherry pick on the same order. Now let's be consistent with our logic. Okay.
Are you crazy? Are you absolutely bonking crazy?
Did you see Vladimir versus Tyson Fury? Did you see that fight?
I've seen the fights, but it's very difficult to watch.
I have forced myself to watch it twice. My question to the fight doctor is that performance of Tyson Fury, in your opinion, means that Tyson Fury has been the heavyweight champion since then and made 6 title defenses. Please defend that. Please defend that concept to me.
Okay, so do you guys? All right. Let me ask the panel. Let me ask you guys. Do you consider Vladimir Klitschko having been the heavyweight champion coming into the fight with Tyson Fury?
What?
Not by your definition. I do not consider him to be the lineal champion.
Okay, well then,
the last lineal champion was Lennox Lewis.
Yes.
All right. Well then, if it is your argument that Vladimir Klitschko was not indeed the lineal champion, and there is some merit to that argument, I personally wouldn't make that argument, but there is some merit to that argument, then Tyson Fury did not beat the man, so then he was not the man. So then he has not made 6 or however many defenses of his title.
That's my standpoint. To establish a new lineage, we will have that once Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua have fought each other. That's my standpoint.
Yeah.
But that's beside the point I was trying to make. The point that I'm making and have made.
Make your point, man.
Is that if Tyson Fury were a cherry pick for Deontay Wilder, and if Deontay Wilder were a cherry pick for Tyson Fury, then indeed Vladimir Klitschko was a cherry pick for Anthony Joshua. Let's be consistent with our logic.
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Did Vladimir Klitschko blow up to nearly 400 pounds while he was out of the ring for 18 months?
Most certainly not.
Did Vladimir Klitschko test positive for cocaine
Most
in the
certainly
18
not.
months that he
Most
was out of
certainly
the
not.
ring?
Most certainly not. Did Vladimir Klitschko?
Klitschko have 2 fight camps for Tyson Fury?
Most certainly.
Did Tyson Fury lose his previous fight?
No. Yes.
No.
No contest. No contest.
Oh, hold on a minute. Yeah, that should be.
No. The question was in
British
with
Boxing
regard.
Board of Control said it should be ruled a no contest.
Wait, hold on a second. Wait.
No
Hold on a second. Wait. Again, speculation and allegation. Let's deal with the facts.
I'm talking facts.
No, you're talking speculation.
Was Tyson Fury?
Was
Tyson Fury
you're talking about
the Hamer fight should be ruled a no contest.
You're talking about what could have, should have. What
I'm talking about a fact. You said
no. Okay, so then let's deal with
the British Boxing Board of Control ruled that the Hamer fight should be ruled a no contest. That's a fact.
What does the Hamer fight have to do? Wait,
you
what does the Hamer fight have to do?
You asked me if he won his last fight, and that was the Hamer fight. So I'm telling you, it should be ruled a no contest.
Wait. See, again, you want to
by the British Boxing Board of Control.
So again, you wish to twist the facts and construe the facts. All right.
How am I twisting a fact when I'm
I would be more than happy to explain. I would be more than happy to explain. The Hamer fight has nothing to do with Tyson Fury.
You asked me about the Hamer fight, and I'm told you that it should
I did not. You brought up Hamer. I didn't ask you about the Hamer fight.
You asked me if Tyson Fury won his previous fight to Vladimir Klitschko, and I'm telling you that it should be ruled a no contest.
No, sir. Context is so very important. And again, you wish to misconstrue the facts and misconstrue and misrepresent the context.
Misconstrue and misrepresent. Okay, cool.
Yes, which is exactly what you're doing. Okay, because the question was in relation to Tyson Fury going into the Deontay Wilder fight.
Ask the damn question, for goodness sake. Stop going around the houses and get to the point, my man.
Rafi's point is, on the back of beating Francis Piernetta, Tyson Fury had earned a world title shot.
Oh my gosh.
And I can't believe that the fight doctor is trying to make out that fighting someone that lowly ranked means going into the Deontay Wilder fight, he was deserving of the world title.
Well, that's just sad. If that's what the fight doctor is saying, then that's just sad. That is just sad. No one.
Yeah. Okay. Dodging silver bullets, which aren't even silver. All right.
Listen, that was full silver.
Because again, you are a master. You're trying to master the art of misconstruing the facts, and you're not doing a very good job, sir. Okay. Not doing a very good job.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So enlighten me, doctor. What are these facts?
Yeah. Enlighten me.
Have I not said that Tyson Fury won his fight against Francis Piernetta?
So once again, the facts are.
That is
wait, guys. The facts are Vladimir Klitschko going into the Anthony Joshua fight was coming off loss and long layoff. Those are the facts. Okay.
No, it's true. If that's your argument, that Vladimir Klitschko had 18 months out of the ring, he was 40, and he was coming off a loss. And those are your reasons for not giving credit to Anthony Joshua for the victory. I'm fine with that. I don't actually have a problem with it. I've got a question. I've got a question for you.
Above and beyond that. Now let's put things in the further context. Above and beyond that, he was coming off of 2 lackluster performances going into the Anthony Joshua fight. Not only did he look lackluster in his loss to Tyson Fury, but he also looked lackluster in his previous fight, going the distance with the world beater, Bryant Jennings.
So I have a question for you now, Fight Doctor.
I'm listening.
What is Deontay Wilder's best win?
Luis Ortiz.
And what had Luis Ortiz achieved for that to be a good win?
Nothing.
So you confirm that beating Luis Ortiz is not a particularly good win then?
It's a good win in the context of. It's a good win
of mushroom risotto And yeah,
excuse me. I was answering the question. Okay, please allow me to answer the question. Now, in the context of Deontay Wilder's resume, it's a good win.
In other words, he just said in the context of Deontay Wilder's
if we're not going to give,
it's a good win. That's what you mean. Poor resume. You mean he was the best of a bad lot.
A bad lot, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
In the context of saying Vladimir Klitschko was not a good win for Anthony Joshua, how would you rank the Povetkin win?
Again, what had Povetkin done prior to? Or what has he done since? I mean, so
get the hell out
wait, hold on a second, wait, I'm answering hold on a second, I'm answering the question. I'm answering the question.
He's a gold
again,
well, I can tell you what he's done since. Anyway, he's knocked out the WBC's.
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Yeah, we did. Okay, and he beat Dillian Whyte by knockout in a fight where he was losing every minute of every round.
We're not doing this again. We did it
we are because you brought it up. So he was
doing it again. I'm telling you, I ain't got time to do it again.
First and foremost,
we're just gonna
Dillian Whyte. All right, let's talk about Alexander Povetkin. We can get a chance to talk about him last night.
We cannot do that. We can do this tonight. We can talk about that tonight. But I got time, limited time, bro. Limited time. Understand that. Limited time. And in comes the Red Glove militant. Red Glove, glad to have you, my friend. Glad to have you. What you saying, my friend? What you saying, Red Glove?
Oh, first I want to say hi to everybody. I want to be
pleasure to have you.
I want to be courteous. Hi to the hosts and the whole panel.
100.
That's who the Fight Doctor. Pleasure to be on the panel with you and John Dealey as always. I don't think I've ever been on with the Fight Doctor.
Yeah, the Fight Doctor is an experience, my friend.
Yeah, but no, y'all could. I believe him and John Dealey were dealing with each other. So
yeah.
I could sit back for now.
No, because we're closing the show. So really and truly, we're just going around final word because we got a show tonight.
We're not set up to do this succinctly between the Fight Doctor and I think Rafi's got things to do.
Yeah, I can't believe I missed that. I had something that came up that I had to take care of real quick. But I mean,
we're talking about Frank Warren has confirmed that the contract has been signed by both parties. So undisputed, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury. It's on. It is on.
All right, I'll go ahead and give my thoughts just real quick. This is how I feel about the situation. I'm not gonna get my hopes up as much as I want to.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why. We just don't get undisputed that easily right now. In this era. And even when we think one of two things always happens. Either the fight falls through, even though a contract is signed. And then the other possibility is the fight will happen, but some circumstance will make the fight not undisputed. Like what we got with Lomachenko and Lopez. That I originally thought that was going to be undisputed. Nope. Ended up not being undisputed. So I'm not going to get my hopes up too much for undisputed. I'm hoping for the best, preparing for the worst.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's just a good way to go through life, just in general. Just always hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
100.
And you shouldn't be caught too off guard. But yeah, that's how I feel about this situation. If it happens, I will be so happy. But until that both men are standing in the ring, I'm not gonna believe it. I'm just not, because Tyson Fury even had a press conference with Vladimir Klitschko for the rematch. And he didn't have a shirt on. He's like, "I'm fat. You lost to a fat man," jiggling his belly. That was a press conference. Fight never materialized. So, when there's press conferences, I'll feel a little bit more comfortable. But honestly, because I've had the rug pulled from under me many times,
Yeah.
I'm going to wait till they are actually in the ring and there's confirmation that it is for Undisputed.
Yes.
So that's my thoughts on the whole situation. Everybody, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you have it, I know it's hard times for a lot of people, but if you have the extra shekels or you can do without that cup of Starbucks or Twinings or whatever it is that you like to drink, consider sending it over Raf's way. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much, Raf. Thanks for having me.
Much
you have a good day.
Much appreciated.
And everybody else.
Shout out to the Red Glove Militant.
Shout out to
all
the
right,
Red
thank you.
Gloved Militant up in the building. And then there were 3. Okay. John Dealey, you please say your final words. We got 60 seconds for everybody. Okay, boom. John Dealey, as we wrap up.
Okay. I am actually optimistic. I think Eddie has been very thorough. The biggest thing in the way of it being undisputed has been resolved. The WBO are the ones who've ordered the Joyce Usyk fight.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people are concerned about the 28 days, but I actually think that's putting pressure on the competing sites to come up with an offer. Because there are, and I believe it because this is what happened with the Andy Ruiz fight, which got moved at the last minute. People coming in making massive offers, and it's not based on crowds.
Yeah.
Ultimately, countries in the Middle East are trying to showcase their country. They're ruled by kings, essentially, who have coffers to pay for this and bankroll it. It's not based on sales.
Yeah. It's
a long-term policy of trying to showcase their country as a destination for massive events. And if you actually look at the crowd for AJ Ruiz, it's something like, well, it was like 5,000 people.
Yeah.
It wasn't big at all.
No.
And there's the site fee provided $85 million purse for Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
And there was enough spare change to move Andy Ruiz. What was it? Something like 11, or they gave him an extra couple of million for going there.
An extra couple of million.
Yeah. So it's not crowd dependent. I'm optimistic. 28 days is to get the different competing places to finalise their offer. Thanks, Raf.
Boom, boom, boom. Rafi has stepped up the game. Stepped up the game. How do I do this again then? How do I do this again? How do I do this again? In future, folks, when we do it, how do I set it? I want to clear that. How do I set it? Have I got to reload? Is that how it works? Okay. So if I go boom, and I go boom, and I go boom, boom. Look at that, folks. Stepped up the game. Have you ever seen this on a show before? When we do our debates in future, we will be setting the timer. We'll be setting the timer, and we'll be putting it up on the screen. How you like them apples? That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, the Fight Doctor. You have your minute to round up, starting from. How does he start it? Now, start.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this whole new timer is going to work when you're in the debate and subject to the time clock. We'll see how that works. Now, having said that, I have a bet against this fight happening next, but it's a bet I will be happy to lose. I hope that this fight can get made in a timely fashion for the summer. That'll be nice. The heavyweight division needs to move forward and have some clarity and sort things out. So hopefully that can happen. And I'll leave it at
21 seconds. You got 20 seconds left. You got 20 seconds left. Come on. Work with the clock. Come on.
Right. So let's not misconstrue the facts going forward. Let's have some intellectual honesty, please. And take your red herring and put it on the grill. Okay.
I like it. Boom. And there we have clarity. The game, where is this? The bar has been raised. Has anybody ever seen this on a podcast before? Rafi raising the bar. We got the technology in the place. He's saying this is the best way to debate the fight doctor. OMG. What did Tone say? Ortiz attended Dempsey versus Johnny. He took his grandkids with him. You know, I was one of the first people to come up with those those old fight jokes for Ortiz. When I said, what did I say? I said that Ortiz was Jack Johnson's bucket boy. That was a couple of years back now. Okay. Fight doctor, always quality, 100%. Fight doctor is the king of red area. Oh my gosh. Bet on Wilder. OMG. Okay. So we've done it. I've raised the bar. We got the timer up in the place, and it debuted in this place at this time on this day in history. Hopefully it should be long remembered when Rafi brought the stopwatch into the game and raised the bar. OMG. I want to give a shout out and thanks to everybody on the panel. There were so many. It's hard to go through them, but you all know who they were and they all know who they are. So once again, it's a daytime thing, looking to do a nighttime thing, looking to make the most of this opportunity they call the pandemic. The Rafi's got more time. Millions of people in the UK got more time because we're in the COVID lockdown, the third one. Hopefully getting back to full work in about, where are we, March, April, in about a month or so, month and a half, all being well. It's been another great one. It's been an action-packed show. Thanks for everybody who took time out to jump on the panel. Thanks for everybody who took time out of their day to come and listen, watch, participate, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to hit that bell icon and all the other good buttons. Hopefully we do another little something because there's more to talk about later on tonight around 9:30 to 10 p.m. UK time. In the meantime, Frank Warren confirms Joshua versus Fury contracts signed. And now we got a timer up in the place. It's the Raphael Dawkins. It's the Combat Radio. It's the like. It's the subscribe. It's the comments. It's the shares. And it's the hit the bell icon to stay updated to news and notifications. And hopefully check out the videos. Don't be afraid to follow me on Twitter. Catch you later. It's Raphael Dawkins. Adios. Blessed.